Sorry?
Uh, no, wait a minute. Sorry, excuse me. Sir. Okay, it's recorded. So, hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to Beefy Community Talk number 7 with Kuka Bali. We have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Kevin Cherkas. And yeah, so let's get started. So here, our objective for this talk is like to inspire delight, because here we're building a trusted community where property owners can discover great talents, and we also invited great industry professionals like Mr. Kevin here that have the proven track records and also established business in the region. So me as the moderator, I will ask some questions on behalf of our property owners. And yeah, so this is a little bit format for today. I'm going to do introductions for our host, Mr. Jing, and also Mr. Kevin. And we going forward to discussion about Kuka Bali. We will discover the portfolio and also the services of Kuka Bali. And we will end up with closing statements. So, oh yeah, here. Hi, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Nadia, for bringing me in today. So, everyone, my name is Jing. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bukit Vista. I grew up in California, came to Bali about 16 years ago, and I studied actually electrical engineering at one point in my life. Previously, before having Bukit Vista, I worked at Airbnb and also at Aman Resorts, which were both in the hospitality space. And as a fun fact, I once upon a time danced in a Bollywood movie with Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai.
Oh, wow, very interesting, yes, sir. Thank you very much for the introduction. And yeah, I will move forward to the next one. Okay, so our mission and vision in Bukit Vista is that we want to inspire delight through hospitality innovation that could positively transform our guests, partners, and also employees. And yeah, so maybe before we move forward to Kuka Bali and also Mr. Kevin, I would like to introduce myself first. So my name is Nadia. My role in Bukit Vista, actually, my main role in Bukit Vista is a UI UX designer. But yeah, I'm also part for this community talk. And previously, I studied in Universitat Ramon Llull in Barcelona, Spain. Fun fact, I love food. So yeah. Okay, so forward to Mr. Kevin Cherkas. Would you mind to give a brief introductions about you, sir?
Sure. Nadia, I love your fun fact.
I love
your fun fact, Nadia. So, yeah, my name is Kevin. I was always really addicted to cooking. I mean, it's all I've ever done. It's all I remember doing. It's the only job I've ever been paid for through my entire life. And I got into it at a young age. And the deep, deep love I have for cooking is pretty unparalleled. I'm Canadian, so born in Canada, and I've traveled from Canada. I've worked in New York, Singapore, Malaysia, different areas of Spain, and now we found ourselves in Bali. I studied at a young age at Vancouver Community College, which was an old school kind of do it hands-on, get in there type of college, which for me was unbelievable. And my fun fact is I love eating so much more than cooking, you wouldn't imagine. Cooking was just a common sense approach to being able to continue to eat incredibly well.
Amazing. Oh my God. Very well introduction, sir. Thank you very much. So yeah, let's move forward. So everyone, here we have Kuka. And okay, so our first topic discussion for today to Mr. Kevin. So can you tell us a little bit more about Kuka, your restaurants, and how you get Kuka started, and what makes Kuka different from every other restaurants in Bali, for example?
Sure. So the first part of your question is how Kuka got started. My dream was always to have my own business, or to have my own restaurant. And for me, it was going to be the greatest expression of personality and kind of the greatest artistic way to do what you truly wanted. Now, it came to fruition when I was working in Singapore, in a beautiful hotel, but it was a big hotel. And after spending 7 years with this amazing hotel company, I realized that needing 20 signatures to change anything, from the color of the flower on the table, to the music, to the cutlery position, it started to slow down the potential success of the business. And I realized that that's the difference in hospitality between being open or being closed. You know, being ahead or being behind, because it's a very dynamic, fast-moving industry. So at that point, I thought, now's the time to open my own business. Now, what people don't realize is a restaurant is probably about 10% cooking. There's about 90% that is business. You know, marketing, branding, finance, payroll, human relations. I mean, there is a massive amount of work that has nothing to do with physically putting fish into a pan. So what I started doing was whittling down my wife, Virginia, who was an expert in business. And it started slow, but through persistence and basically continued pressure, she broke, as they all eventually do. And she said, okay, we thought, where the hell are we going to do it? So we looked at options at the time. We thought, we're in Singapore, we are previously in Malaysia, I'm Canadian, she's Spanish. What about going to, you know, anywhere was a possibility. And one by one, we started going through locations to try to find where Cuca would come to fruition. And by total coincidence, we stumbled upon this coconut grove in Bali, in the middle of nowhere, down a road with no lights. And like two idiots, with no demographic study, no hardcore evidence, no actual facts to support any level of potential success, we were like, this is it. It's perfect. So what we did is we went back to Singapore and started crafting the idea for Cuca. Within 1 month, we had quit our jobs and we headed to Bali. We arrived in Bali with 2 suitcases and a huge dream. And within 1 year of arriving in an island with no friends, no allies, no clear understanding of how to proceed, Cuca was open, staff were hired, concept was implemented, and guests were walking through the door. So that's how Cuca got started. To answer the second part of your question, what makes Cuca different? This is an interesting answer. Absolutely everything. Let me explain why. One of the things we realized in Bali is when we arrived, to our shock and horror, you had unbelievable international 5-star hotels operating at the pinnacle of the industry. Not only the property, but their beautiful restaurants. You then had international celebrity chefs opening in Bali. You also had inexpensive street food, and you had chain restaurants from all over the planet. Now, we knew we would never be able to compete with these guys. They had the know-how, they had the branding, they had the financial setups, and they had the copy and paste business model that would crush us. So we thought the only way we're going to be able to even survive at all was to do everything different. So whatever was being done, we're not even going to compete. You know, if everyone was selling hot dogs, we're like, we're not even going to enter that structure. So everything was different. Our concept was different. Our restaurant design was different. The way we approached hospitality, our plates and cutlery were designed from scratch. I mean, we literally made a list of everything a restaurant needs to be: food, table, chair, toilet, entrance, like a list. And we went through each point and we thought, how can we be so radically different that rather than appealing to everybody, we're going to deeply be able to appeal to a very small market of people that truly are obsessed with food. Ta-da!
Oh, very amazing explanation, sir. Okay, so before like following up to the next question, actually I watch a lot of your videos on YouTube and I subscribe. I really love the energy when you vlog, when you do the video blogging, sir. Like and like I tried when you make the poached eggs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was actually really excellent recipe, and I would like I'm very honored to be able to say thank you directly to you.
But Nadia, do you understand the connection between you loving food and then you being able to spend time to find those types of unique interactions with other people that love food? This is Cuca. Those videos, Nadia, are not kind of suitable for everyone. They are absolutely tailor-made for you, for people that love food and that are curious about how to make things a little bit more delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm elated you like the videos. I never wanted to do them. My wife, Virginia, she made me do them. So this is why I'm always threatening in these videos saying, if you don't click like, I'm done, because it's the only leverage I have to stop doing these videos. But people keep watching them, Nadia.
Oh yeah, I remember. That's why I keep subscribing to her, and I keep liking your video. That is why. So, yeah, and also, yeah, okay. So our next topic question is actually what dishes best demonstrate your talent the most? And okay, one more thing. I actually do watch one of your video when you had like conference, I think in San Sebastian. Yeah, and I was like so very like amazed how you come up with like a lot of creativity for your foods. Like you come up for kluak and then you make the croquette from kluak, and you come up for the lollipop inspired cookbook. I was like, oh my god, that's so amazing. So yeah, so can you tell us for like what dishes best demonstrate your talent? I mean, from cookout, for example.
So I think one of the biggest, so I'll answer it in two, I'll answer it with specifically speaking of the creativity with ingredients, and then I'll lead right into the answer to your question. So one of the things we do differently is instead of creating a dish, and then like we make a beef dish, and then we think, okay, where the heck are we gonna get good beef? Right? So you work through the dish and then you simply then look for where you're going to find products. We do it totally backwards. What we do is we discover first the product. And the product can be anywhere in Indonesia. We only use ingredients that come from Indonesia. So we've had to relearn a lot of my training, because rather than just being able to follow the steps that you would to create a dish, we do it totally backwards. So when we're in Toraja and we discover kluak in the mountains in the market, and we don't know what it is, and it just looks like a mound of glistening coffee that's roasted and smoky, and someone explains it to us, and then we eat the traditional food of the area, and we dive deeper into understanding how kluak is used, what's the process, what makes it special. Once we then start with an ingredient, we then figure out what we can do with the ingredient. So that's why we come up with interesting applications with the magical ingredients of Indonesia. So that's why the presentation always starts with the ingredient and you see the journey of creativity. Now, what makes the food of Cuca special? Well, that's the process we use. And as a chef, you have three options to create dishes. Your first option, Nadia, would be to serve the amazing traditional food of any country. Like you go, for example, to Greece and you serve moussaka and dolmades and the beautiful Greek salads, and you serve those classic dishes. Or in Indonesia, the ayam betutus and the rendans, and you just stick to these classic delicious recipes that have stood the test of time. This is option one, and it's a beautiful option. You're paying homage to tradition, and you're mastering grandma's recipes and continuing to carry them forward. Option two, which is probably the most common. What you do is you work in various restaurants, as I've done, and you merely copy and paste the amazing dishes from each great chef. That can be done from working in the restaurant. It can also be done from looking at cookbooks and simply stealing or plagiarizing the delicious food from others. This is an incredibly popular way to run a business. And the last way, and unfortunately, the most difficult, challenging, is to create your own dishes. We all know the success of going to a karaoke is you simply choose the music that everyone loves, and even if you suck at singing, people will clap along because they love the song. What's very challenging is to create your own songs because you're vulnerable. And when you sing that song or when you cook your own food, you have no ability to hide. So either it's good or it's bad. It sucks or it doesn't. If you're at karaoke and you're singing a beautiful U2 song and someone says that sucks, you can say, my friend, it's U2. They're one of the greatest bands of all time. U2 doesn't suck. It's you who sucks. But when you cook your own food, you're vulnerable. And with that in mind, that's what we did for every dish in Cuca. We created every single dish that we serve. So some restaurants that you go to, any restaurant in the world, they'll have their signature dish, a dish that is special that's only served there. Like there's a Japanese restaurant and they'll have their signature sushi roll, and everyone orders it because it's great. Now the difference is rather than having our signature sushi roll, every single item on our menu is signature. There are no classic dishes. There are no copies of other chefs' food. There are only creations. And what we find is as people slowly to take the ideas from Cuca and other restaurants implement what we serve, that's when it's time for us to change the menu again to continue offer something different. Ta-da!
That's amazing.
Wow, very amazing explanation, sir. Yeah, wow.
How much time do we got, Nadia? This is fantastic.
We still have like 3-4 more topic discussions, sir, if that's okay for you.
No, I love it. We can do this all day. I'm free until tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that, sir.
Nadia,
Yes.
could I chip in real quick? I realized that Kevin inspires delight through hospitality innovations that positively transforms guests. He's like innovating in hospitality, and he's thinking of new ways to actually create new flavor profiles, which is pretty awesome. I enjoy speaking with a fellow innovator. The other thing I want to say is I heard, this is funny because I recently took up stand-up comedy, Kevin, right? Over at Deus, I performed a few times, and I immediately understood what you said about vulnerability. So I was able to tell a few classic jokes that I remembered, and the crowd loved it. And when I came up with my own jokes, they didn't think it was funny at all. And I was like, it is hard. It is really difficult being original. So
what a beautiful example. It's an absolute perfect analogy, Jing. It's exactly what I said, summarized perfectly.
Yeah. So I hear you there.
Okay. Yeah, Jing, I have one more question for you. You said that the ability that we have to create new flavors and develop amazing new dishes is inspiring, but that doesn't explain the fact that you haven't come to Cuca in 7 years.
I'm saving money so I can pay my team so that we can have these sessions.
Got it. I got it. You're off the hook. You're off the hook, Jing.
I'll come over. Yeah. After I look at the profit and loss statement, I'll see if we can afford it. But okay.
It's just you set yourself up so beautifully for that.
I
I mean, the puck, to use a Canadian analogy, you had the goalie out of place and the puck was almost in the net. It was just a little poke, Shing.
You got me there. You got me there. Okay. Back to Nadia. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I would love to come to Cuca, but too bad I'm too far away. I'm like in North Kalimantan, so yeah, I would love to come to Bali and go to Cuca. Okay, next topic discussions probably. Where were we? Okay, so sir, who do you think is the right type of customer for your service or Cuca?
Yeah, this is very important. You know, I don't want to say there's a sophistication to what we do, because the food is meant to be loved by an 80-year-old food critic with the highest level of international dining, and a 6-year-old kid who's just basically coming to devour our menu. I mean, that's what we try to develop with the dish, is something that everybody will love. But there is definitely a right customer. And let me explain. Somebody that has never left their small town or village, somebody that has grown up eating mom's food and the traditional food of that area, when they come to a restaurant like Cuca, it scares the hell out of them. Because when people go and eat, many people want to know what they're getting into. They want to hold on to something. When you say, let's go out for dinner tonight, the immediate question is, what should we eat? And you want to categorize things: Greek, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Korean. You want to put it into a bracket that you understand what you're getting yourself into. Now with Cuca, we don't have a bracket, because inspiration comes from all over the planet. So it's when somebody says, what type of food do you serve? It becomes a very tricky answer, because you can't call it anything. You can say it's Western, but I mean, half the planet is Western. You know what I mean? It's tough just to push it towards a category. So what we normally do is it appeals to any individual that is open-minded and willing to taste delicious. So somebody that's eaten Japanese food before, or Chinese food before, or Mexican food before. Now, the people that go and explore different flavors of different countries, because for them, it's truly the excitement of a day by being able to introduce your tongue to the adventure of flavor. Those people, not only do they like Cuca, but they become like these fans. So one of the greatest advices I can give to anybody watching in the world of business would be, we don't look at our customers as customers. We don't see people as a customer. We see them the same way that a rock band would see their customers. And they don't call them customers. They call them fans. Fans are much more powerful. Fans buy the t-shirts, fans go to the concerts, and fans don't just show up and listen to the music. They convince all of their friends that this is the greatest rock band of all time. So they're an incredibly powerful resource for a business. And this is something that we counted on by doing something so drastically different. In Cuca, we have two types of customers: people that love us and people that absolutely hate it. I mean, hate it. They ridicule our staff. They laugh at what we do. They complain. They don't want to pay their bill. I mean, they swear at us. I mean, people leave horrified because we don't serve pizza, pasta, or sandwich, right? And I understand. But those things you can find everywhere. And if you can find it everywhere, you'll never find it at Cuca. What we're looking for is a small market of people that truly love food, and they will take care of everything else. Ta-da!
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for the explanation. Maybe it's kind of slightly off topic, but I used so yeah, before I went to Bilbao, and there was this kind of restaurant that served, I forgot what its name. Hi, chipirones on sutinta. I don't like it's like squids on this on the tin. I would judge it like, oh my god, the food looks so ugly, but the taste is actually very amazing, if I could be honest. So, and you said something about excitement in your food. So, how do you be able to come up with the excitement, also the comfortable of the creation of your food, sir?
So that dish that you speak of, chiparones in suntinta, translates to
See,
squid in its own ink, and it's one of my favorite dishes of all time. I love it. I used to hike from San Sebastian for 3.5 hours every weekend to a small town called San Juan, where it was famous at this beautiful seaside village. And so that dish specifically, I also thought it's the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life. It is jet black. It
yes,
literally looks like something you get after you change your car oil. Like
yes,
it's
sir.
it's pieces of food floating in black ink. And the leap of faith and confidence you have to go into this porridge of goo is insurmountable. So that dish specifically for years has been in my brain, because how do I get the world to eat that amazing flavor and take away the fear? And we did that in Cuca in a dish that we call squid risotto. And what we've done is we've taken all those traditional flavors, which is in the classic dish, the tomato and the onion, and you use tomato and onion and garlic and pepper and carrot, and it's slowly braised with white wine, and you finish it with just a splash of ink. And the problem is no one would ever eat the way it is. So what we did is we built a level of comfort into that dish by bracket as a risotto, because people will eat risotto whatever color it is on the planet, because you call it a risotto, people are in. And what we've done is we've cut the squid to the size of a grain of rice, right? The size of a grain of rice, and then we slowly braise that grain of rice in this beautiful traditional sauce. So what we do is we make a risotto that has no rice. So we call it a risotto, but the squid is the rice, and the appearance is much less daunting and much more comforting. So I think that's kind of the way we look at food. We find delicious, we figure out how to introduce it in a new way. We don't change what makes it great. We just merely incorporate local ingredients and the magic of Cuca.
Perfect. Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, so I think it's kind of like correlate with the next topic's question. So from the traditional business models of restaurant, how do you manage to think outside the box?
Yeah, I think for us, we do a few things. Rather than just looking at Cuca as a business in Bali or a business within Indonesia, we try to think about it as a restaurant in the world. And everything we do, we approach it from much more of a global level. So we're trying to run the business at the highest possible level, and we don't compete. So one of the things we do is we don't worry about what the neighbor does or what the other guest or the guy across the street or the other business in Canggu or Seminyak do. We're focused on spending that time reading the TripAdvisor reviews of somebody else, and that competitiveness, we don't do it. We spend every minute of the day focused on simply getting better, trying to improve ourselves. So like a boxer, like a professional boxer, they shouldn't be worried about the opponent and trying to figure out what is their skill set. They should be focusing on getting better themselves, because the opponent doesn't matter. The opponent is always going to be there. Your goal is to get better as a business. And so what we've done is, instead of simply thinking of it as a business in Bali, we try to bring Cuca outside of Bali. So we're kind of stuck with having a business in a location where none of our guests come from that area. I mean, I would say 99% of our customer base is not from Bali. So to get to guests, what do? I mean, do you simply place an advertisement in a newspaper in Spain and hoping that the person that might come to Bali next year, maybe they read it and they come? You can't. So this is what we do. We try and figure out where in the world people are coming from. And if we realize we're getting a lot of people from Italy, we'll do a food event in Italy. And we do. We travel from Italy to Spain to places like San Sebastian for food events. We do pop-up events all over the planet. And we just hope that people that love food, they make it to our events. And what we're doing essentially is building a global community of fans that fall in love with not only the creativity, but the amount of dedication that goes into making food delicious. And maybe they can't get to Bali. Maybe the guy in middle of Mexico is not going to go to Bali next week, but maybe he knows somebody that is. And what happens is magic. What happens is in these pop-up events and food festivals and this kind of educating young kids as we do. Last year we were in Madrid with Le Cordon Bleu Cooking School. We did a big talk also for Melbourne for Le Cordon Bleu Cooking School there, and schools in the Basque Culinary Center all over the planet. And what happens is everyone knows somebody that's coming to Bali. And what happens is Juan in Spain or Miguel in Mexico or Chrissy in the States says, oh my God, you're going to Bali? You've got to go to Cuca. And that's slowly what has started to happen. So what do we do from the traditional business model? We don't compete, and we think of ourselves more globally and how we can infect the world with what we do, instead of simply looking at a small population. We do everything the hardest way possible. No shortcuts, no kind of paid advertisement, because I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying we thought the only way to infect people with what we do is by literally doing it ourselves and creating these fans.
Okay. My question, sir. I noticed that you had a lot. No, yeah, you had a lot like participating like event in Madrid as well, in San Sebastian and somewhere else. And I also noticed that you have these webinars about cooking without recipe going on. Yeah. What about it, sir? Like, this is still going on, or what happened to it, sir?
Listen, every week we're coming up with another way to approach delicious. Every week we're thinking of how we can do something different and how we can introduce Cuca into a new customer base. So, you know, as the world gets older, we realize that kids, the young generation, are also getting older. So, I mean, we're looking at 1-year-old children as the next generation to eat in Cuca. So we not only do we have the YouTube channel and we have our traditional social media, Instagram, Facebook, but we're always trying to find ways to introduce Cuca to a different profile of customer. So, you know, these webinars that you speak of, this is for people who love to cook, but at home, and not professional chefs at all. Actually, people that love eating and love to cook, but struggle with the dependency that they have upon recipes. Their inability to incorporate new ideas and new techniques. They can't. They go to the supermarket with a recipe for lamb with mint and potatoes. And the minute they can't find mint, like they shut down. Like they physically have a mental breakdown because they don't understand how to proceed without the structure of a recipe. So Cooking Without Recipes, the seminar, is merely a way to be able to understand how a dish is created, what is the profile of those elements, and how you can substitute those elements with any other ingredient as long as you understand what they do for the recipe.
Oh. Okay, so maybe the
Available always on YouTube. It's there forever.
Yes.
Have you seen it, Nadia? Have you watched the full video?
Yes, of course, sir.
And how is your cooking? If you look at Nadia before the video and Nadia after the video, welcome to a whole new world of delicious. Listen, Tendi, Maria, Shitya, Rafik, and Genevieve, let's go to Nadia's house because she knows how to cook.
Oh, I think I'm still bad.
Then it's a confidence issue. We'll have to do another seminar. It's so Cuca Bali. Cuca Bali is where you'll find all of this. YouTube.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Jing, do you have any questions?
I'm actually quite inspired by what Kevin just said again. I thought about, like, even in like our webinars here, right, about following a recipe. I found it like the more fluent and the more developed and skillful you become as, let's say, a moderator, the more you can actually start going off the script, right? You don't need to always follow like, okay, the script and such. You get sort of like, you start exploring that region. And I think that's it. That the idea of off recipe or off plan, that's where inspiration comes from. That's where you start observing more. You start discovering, hey, I don't have mint, but I could use this leaf over here, and it works maybe even better. And now I've created a new flavor. I've created my own take on that. I think it's very inspirational. That's kind of, we have a core value here. We call it be the hero. I think that sort of hits that nail on the head. Thank you.
Beautiful. Very well said. I mean, it's once you understand the recipe for a joke, the timing, the timing, the directional shifting, the pause before the punchline, and drawing people into the world, then creating jokes and being there is storytelling, as you said. And just, I mean, the difference is very simple. Following a recipe is literally like getting on the train. You're gonna get to the right stop. You just get off. But getting on a train is a lot different than driving a car. Driving a car, you can take your own road, you can choose your own adventure, you can stop and go when you please, and there's a lot more potential fulfillment on learning how to drive and taking your own route than there is with merely getting on the bus, right?
Yes, true. Is there anything more, Mr. Jing?
Oh, no, that was it. Yeah, I absolutely agree. We share a lot of common core beliefs, I think.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So the next topic discussion is, Mr. Kevin, so how are you positively impacting your environment?
So you can see my personality is very jovial, very high energy. Also because in the environment that we're at with a restaurant, I mean, when we closed Cuca, we're now reopened, and we do Cuca only on weekends, but we're now reopened as a business. But when we closed Cuca, we had about 130 employees. And one of the reasons why this energy is important is because as a leader, my energy needs to be more than everyone else. So I have to set the tone for, if there's power coming from the top, everybody else will follow, right? And so being that source of energy for us is very important. So even though I joke around a lot, I'm very serious about your next question, because we have a huge responsibility as a business that serves 1 to 200 people a day normally, and with a big manpower. We can either make a huge difference to a small island, or we can be a big problem for a small island. And I think the next point is incredibly important, because looking at now the generation that we're in, where people are certain with problems like global warming, piling up of trash, carbon footprint. When you start looking at the major global situation that we have to be able to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. So these are some things we do in Cuca. Number one, We understand that we have a very important role, not only because of our business, but the trainings to all of the staff are going to set the tone for their future and their career, and they're going to copy and paste our policies. So if we're wasteful, if we don't care about what we do, if we throw heaps of plastic in the ocean and in the landfills, so will 130 people learning in Cuca when they eventually move on in their careers. So what do? Number one, we don't use any plastic in anything we do, and we've done this for the last 5 years before they even implemented it within a rule within Bali. We also recycle, upcycle every single material that we possibly can. So in the restaurant, I mean, our glasses that people drink out of are wine bottles that have been cut mid-level, sanitized, washed, polished, and then now used as drinking glasses. So, and that's one of millions of examples. Even the suppliers that bring products, we don't buy products from giant suppliers that bring everything from Australia. Nothing against Australia, but we support only local farmers. We support only people within Indonesia. And not only do we support them directly, there's no middleman. So we pay a premium for their product, for the chance to work directly with them and tailor make the quality of their ingredients. And we don't accept their plastic bags. We don't accept them showing up with 15 plastic bags of vegetables. We have beautiful nylon bags with Cuca, of course, that we make, we give them, and we only accept deliveries that arrive within these these nylon bags that we've given them. So not only are we not using plastic, we don't accept it. Our team that work in Cuca are not international culinary professionals. We don't have Jing. We don't have Jing. We want Jing, but we don't have them. We have young Indonesians that 90% of the time come with zero understanding of hospitality, so zero training and no English. We teach the English, we teach the skills, we teach all of the standards of Cuca, but we hire based on one amazing quality, which is their genuine kindness as people. So as a value, we reward kindness, and we give them basically years of training. The first 2 years is merely an introduction to what is a restaurant, how does it work, how to introduce food to a customer. So what are we doing to impact our environment? Building communities of people and giving them careers as opposed to just getting them through. So it's the philosophy of, rather than giving a man a fish or giving somebody a dinner, we're teaching people how to fish. We're teaching people life skills within hospitality that then they're able to grow depending on their own personal their own personal drive and determination as an individual. And when they grow, they have adapted these amazing policies, which are about keeping Bali green, treating each other with respect, and being proud of Indonesia, being proud of the products of Indonesia and the people of Indonesia. And we also focus a lot on nutrition. So how the staff should be eating, not only our customers. All the staff have, just imagine in one day, 130 employees showing up with the nasi bungkus, the plastic and paper wrapped food. You think, well, how do you change that? You buy every single human being these beautiful lunch pails that can be reused. And when they go to the local warongs, the warong fills these lunch pails with their food to eliminate plastic and paper and spoons that are filling landfills. And you think, oh, how much difference does that make? 130 people, 365 days a year. Can you imagine how much difference it makes? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very amazing. So if I could sum it up, actually Cuca is a company that also inspired delight through the hospitality innovation, because you want to, you try to positively transform your partners and also employees. So yeah.
Right, guests.
You have to, Nadia. You understand, because you're
Yes.
creating fans.
Mhm.
And when you think about creating fans, you can't see your staff as staff either. You have to think these people are not going to work in Kuka for 80 years. They're going to go out into the industry and they're going to continue to do the job. So by instilling values and making them deeply fall in love with food and the craft of cooking or hospitality, you're creating another generation of fans, which in return is only going to help promote Kuka to a whole new world of customer base. You know, you can't see, this is our staff, so let's just forget about them and make sure they do their job. Your staff are also have the potential to be fans. Happy people working for you can make happy customers. The idea of yelling and screaming at your team all day long to where they're so demoralized, now they have to go and take care of a guest. How can Putu, that just finished crying for 4 hours in the corner from making a mistake, go and make table 7 have the best meal of their life? How?
True. Oh, though, to Mr. Jing, do you have anything to say?
I absolutely agree. I mean, these are it's really inspirational to hear these values celebrated as by somebody like Kevin. I had a fun question, Kevin. Do you put Kuka on the lunch boxes that you give to your staff?
Let me ask you a question, Jing.
Sure.
Based on what we've told you so far, do you think we put Kuka on the lunch boxes?
I think so.
Of course we do, Jing.
So
Of course we do, Jing.
I was going to compliment, because it's not just doing the world good, it's helping to build your fan base too. Now your branding is going to be seen by everybody who is working at the war room serving the food. They're going to take it home and wash it in the sink, so everybody at the house will know your brand. And the same when you have the nylon bags that your suppliers will use, they'll bring that back. So that's actually really, really clever. Your brand is kind of transmitting its energy throughout the wider networks. And
for those people, for those people at the warung that are standing to the left and the right or in front of the person scooping food into the lunchbox, they see Kuka.
Yeah.
The problem is the people that are standing behind them don't see the lunchbox, right?
How do you solve that problem?
Not to worry, Jing. We have jackets where it says Team Kuka on the back. So while you're waiting in the queue, you still get the feeling of the magic. Now, I'm lucky enough to have the platform to speak to you all today, and it may come off like I have all the answers, but what you don't see is 90% of everything I'm telling you has nothing to do with me. Virginia, who is my wife and my business partner, she is truly the brains behind all of these small decisions in branding. And even though I'm lucky enough to get the credit, it's not my doing. So, you know, everybody knows the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, right? Everybody knows Dorothy and the small dog. But remember the Wizard of Oz? The magic behind the curtain? That's Virginia. And people don't always see her, but whenever you see Kuka, when everybody says Kuka, whenever you hear the word Kuka, that has nothing to do with me. My job is once they get to the restaurant, my job starts. And it starts with everything I do inside those beautiful 4 walls of my kitchen. But everything else, that has nothing to do with me. And I want to be very clear, it would be very unfair for me to take credit from somebody else, as it would for anybody to take credit from anybody else. And rather than me continuing talking, Nadia, I want to give it back to the person who's the moderator that is doing a brilliant job today.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Wonderful explanation. So, Actually, we almost come to our final topic discussion. So,
No, Nadia, no.
okay, so maybe I would like to give the time to our audiences here. Like, if you have any questions to Mr. Kevin, I think he would be happy to answer your questions. Is there any question from anyone? Okay, no, then. Oh, Casindia, please.
Yes, hi Kevin. So my name is Cynthia. I'm sorry that I was late previously. And then I'm currently working as a human research and also public relation in Bukit Vista. It's like, thank you so much for sharing your story. Actually, it was kind of like inspiring me as well. Especially right now we're doing some like awareness thing. And then I think we got huge information and also huge inspiration from Kuka. And actually, I don't want to ask. I just want to say like, thank you so much for coming here and then sharing these stories. And I really love it when you say that to position your company is not only in a region like Bali, but in the world. So I think that will also change how others see our company as well. That also change others, your fans, your Kuka fans, to see the Kuka itself. So yes, actually, I just want to say thank you so much for that, and I hope I could go to Kuka when I am in Bali someday.
You
And then
must.
yes,
You must.
sure. Would you please like meet us if we are going to Kuka then?
You absolutely have my word. I mean, and I tell you, one of the greatest pleasures I have is imagine this is my job, okay? I think the greatest job in the world is giving happiness. You know, there's a lot of people that do very important jobs in the world. You know, you have doctors and lawyers, and these people save lives and they control policies and major movements of the planet. My job is as simple as scooping ice cream onto a cone. I give happiness. That's all I do. My whole purpose every day is for the 2 hours somebody arrives in Kuka until they leave. My only job, my only purpose for the last 40 years, 43 years, for the last 25 years cooking is simply to find ways to make those people have the most amazing, happy moment for 2 hours. Like, for me, it's the most unbelievable, incredible job. And if whenever you decide to come to Kuka, I wouldn't only want to say hello. It would be my absolute pleasure to meet you.
Sure, I will be waiting for that moment. Thank you. Back to you,
See you.
Nadia.
Okay, thank you, Casindia. And yeah, so lastly, this is our last topic discussion, sir. So, any last thought for our audience and for our property owners or our audience in general?
Well, I mean, listen, I think one of the things that I've become known for is being relevant. I never give information to young people that I haven't used myself. I don't think too far ahead because the information becomes useless. I think I've always been very realistic with my goals and my ambition so that things are achievable. And I think if I was to give any information to any audience, I think looking at the time we're in right now with COVID and the struggles that everybody is facing, I think one thing we all can do is accept the situation. You're not going to change anything right now. You're not going to find a way out of it. There's no shortcuts. And it's causing everybody a lot of stress, a lot of anger, a lot of financial ruin, and a lot of tension. So my advice right now is everybody needs to accept the global situation that we're in. And when you can accept it for what it is, and you understand you can't change what's going on, no matter how hard you try, I believe then you will slowly start to create ideas and solutions that you wouldn't alternatively. I think the thing that we can do right now, and my greatest advice, is now is a time to do less, better.
Thank you, sir, for the
I
amazing.
gave you time to chew on that at the end. It's big there. Do less, better. That's like a good. In comedy, it's called a grenade. You throw it, no one gets it, and then it hits.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Actually, I remember like you always have this hashtag in your videos, hashtag weathering the storm. Like I don't really know the meaning behind it, but I think that's I think it has a really good meaning. Can you probably explain it a little bit more, sir, before we ended the session?
Weathering the storm is the way you perceive a moment. So weathering the storm is normally a way that people basically in the world of kind of nautica, sailing, weathering the storm was always a mentality of things will be better soon. And it was basically looking at the situation, knowing that we have to get through this before things get better. And it's a way to stay strong in a hard situation, knowing that this is not forever. This is temporary. We will get through this. And we must focus on dealing with the problem now so we can kind of moving forward, we can have the strength to have a brighter tomorrow. So weathering the storm is simple. Now things are difficult. The sun will be coming out soon. Don't lose focus. Don't lose direction. Stay on course, and don't lose your spirit and don't lose your hope. Listen, Nadia, I don't know where the questions and the comments are going to go next, but I did want to say one thing. I'd like to personally, on behalf of myself and Virginia and Cuca, I would like to thank Jing a whole bunch for giving us the opportunity that you have today to meet you, to give our opinion and to give our advice and to use this platform. We're absolutely honored. We know a lot of work and a lot of timing and structure goes in to putting what you do together. I think Jing, Virginia has spoken a lot about what you do. It's commendable, the amount of reach and the amount of energy you have every day to continue doing what you do. And it's an absolute honor to have you include us in your Bukit Vista event today. And thank you everybody who decided to tune in and turn on. And thank you very much, Nadia. I mean, the amount of courage that it takes to sit down and to roll through slides and video, I mean, I know it takes a lot more. We all can decide to sit at home and watch TV. All of us can do this, but to continue to try is commendable. So thank you very much for including us in everything that you've done today.
Yes, sir. Mr. Green, please.
This is my turn to say that I didn't do anything here. 90% of what you see is brought together by our amazing team. Our amazing community, PR, and UX teams that want to create this moment, and some of our new employees too that want to come and learn. So I can't take credit for that. So
well, you showed up though, Jing. You showed up.
Because I can see
Jing, it's all I did. I mean, it's all I did.
Yeah, I'm just here as a figurehead, I think. But no, I think I'm blessed too. In all seriousness, Kevin, I'm really surprised we didn't get together earlier, because I feel like I found my twin here.
Yeah.
like you know, there normally when I'm in the room, I'm the person with the most energy, but I'm learning from you now how
Listen, we've been training for a month and a half. We knew your potential, and we knew we had to step up our game.
All right, well, really appreciate that, and a big thanks to Virginia too. I think she was the first that actually reached out to me on LinkedIn to make the connection request, and I think it just all started after that. But
of course she is 10%. 10%.
Yeah, I'm the 10% too. We can get together and make a 20% then.
Team 20.
Okay, back to Nadia.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. All right, so this is the last moment for our session today. Yeah, so yeah, this is the ending. Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin. It's really amazing. You are very amazing, also inspiring to us. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, hope to see you soon in Cuca. Thank
Cuca
you.
Restaurant now open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were closed for 8 months. Let's make up for it. If you're hungry, we'll be ready.
Sure, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, Kevin.